If anything happens to Rigathi Gachagua, William Ruto, you will not have a country, beginning with yourself. And now I call on all our international partners to declare William Ruto a pariah head of state. And now I call on all our international partners to declare William Ruto a pariah head of state.
Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, while condemning what happened to Rigathi Gachagua in Othaya, made a remark that most people missed. Okay, if you're one of those people who heard what Kalonzo Musyoka said, you will remember that he started by saying, Ruto, if you touch Rigathi Gachagua, Kenya haitakalika. You will no longer have a country. I'm sure you remember that. And then he followed it up with this statement that I want to focus my entire video on because it is so important. And I believe here is the bombshell. It has already happened. Kalonzo Musyoka said that he was appealing to the international community to declare William Samoei Ruto a pariah president. To declare Ruto a pariah president. Now, unajua hiyo ni kizungu mingi. I am not one of those people who know everything. When I heard it, I could vaguely remember what that English word means. Yeah, but I still looked it up to be sure. It means an outcast president. Now, please be patient with me. Let me break it down so that you understand the impact of what is being said here. But let us start by understanding who Kalonzo Musyoka really is. For all his faults, for all his shortfalls, for all the disadvantages weighing him down from getting the presidency of Kenya, or making it difficult for him to be president of Kenya, Kalonzo Musyoka has one major strength that is too obvious. His contacts with the diplomatic community. Most of us will already know Kalonzo Musyoka's image is that he's a diplomat. Okay? What does that mean? Very important for us to understand before we fully understand what we're going into. Very important for us to understand so that we know how serious this thing is. Well, it means many things, but it also means that the man has contacts. And so, let me give you a quick example. Just like Chris Kumekucha can pick up the phone and talk to somebody in a certain area of Kenya and ask that person, watu wanasema nini? And then get a response and understand totally what the mood on the ground is. Kalonzo Musyoka can pick up the phone and understand what the international community is thinking. Okay? He can pick up the phone and call a Washington, D.C. number and ask in Kizungu mingi, watu wanasema nini? And he will get an accurate response of the real-time situation kwa ground. Now, this next part of the video is very sensitive. Na nimepata shida nyingi sana in the past for discussing this topic. Okay? But let's go for it. Cautiously. Now, there was a time, actually not too long ago, let me confess, when I did not fully understand why the opinion and especially the thinking of the international community is so important that it changes politics on the ground in any country of the world. You know, even internationally, it is still politics. And therefore statements can be issued and you take them at face value. But actually you must read between the lines to fully understand what is going on. Let me give you a quick example. Once upon a time, former President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, who had enjoyed a lot of support from the international community, Once upon a time, he did something that got him out of the good books with the people in the international community who matter. I was there at the time, a very naive person, and I can tell you it was very difficult to understand that he had fallen out with the most powerful people in the world, because he still made foreign trips. He even went to the US and was hosted by President Ronald Reagan at the time, lakini maneno yake ilikuwa imeisha. The first sign that things were bad for Moi is that major donors suddenly pulled out of Kenya. They stopped financing the country called Kenya. Of course, this had very devastating effect on the country and the economy. It made draconian, very powerful Moi suddenly very vulnerable. And then what followed very quickly was that suddenly the same donors who had stopped financing the government started heavily financing the opposition. Well, you know how that story ended. Moi survived for 10 years because he was a very smart guy. He understood many things. He had giraffe vision. He survived for 10 more years. But finally, Moi and Kanu were gone. Okay? Fast forward to the present. But before that, naomba kukuambia siri ambayo inafaa ujue. Unajua hii dunia inaongozwa na watu 300. Na hakuna kitu inafanyika katika hii dunia, upende usipende, bila hao watu kukubali na kuidhinisha. Okay? Hao watu huamrisha maserikali. That is a very long story for another day. But the long and short of it, they are powerful people in this world who, once they have made a decision, that's it. It's only a matter of time. And now here's the bombshell. In my opinion, the remarks of one Kalonzo Musyoka were not in the future. Actually, he was speaking past tense. What do I mean? In my opinion, there are very many telltale signs that tell us very clearly that the Kenyan president has already been declared a pariah president. Yeah. What? You know, for a long time I've had a nagging feeling, also based on the information I have, some of which I cannot share on this channel, not even in my sensitive special reports. I've had that nagging feeling that things are much worse for President William Samoei Ruto than they appear to be. I have had a nagging feeling that he's already cornered. Mambo yake kwisha. It is only a matter of time. But let us look at a few telltale signs. Okay? Now, one of the things that has happened in Kenya very recently is that we have started having a problem with donors. I'm sure most of us have heard that story. World Bank have suddenly started issuing new conditions to the government of Kenya. Now. Does that sound familiar? Of course it does. Those of us who are around in the days of Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, it sounds more than familiar. Point number 2. Foreign trips have reduced drastically, and visits to Kenya by foreign heads of state and senior officials have reduced dramatically. Now, I believe we all understand that when somebody is pariah, other people who were their friends before, who have nothing against them, they suddenly disappear. They suddenly do not want anything to do with those pariah people. I believe that is exactly what is happening in Kenya today. And that's a major telltale sign that already the major real decision makers have decided. Okay? Point number 3. We have started hearing stories of the ICC at The Hague the International Criminal Courts. Eh? Now, please let us not be naive. Remember, this is politics. You're not going to hear anywhere these powerful people or their cronies abroad saying something about the ICC. Never. But what you'll hear is that so-and-so has filed a case at the ICC. So-and-so is talking to the ICC. So-and-so is delivering evidence to the ICC, etc., etc. In most instances, those people have been financed to do what they're doing. Okay? Allow me to leave it there for now. Point number 4. Other African heads of state also keep their distance. Is that true about Kenya? You make that decision for yourself and decide whether point number 4 is valid or not. Because we're all taking in the news daily and we're all able to compare what was happening before and what is happening right now. Okay? Point number 5, I believe. The opposition in Kenya is suddenly, very suddenly, very well financed. Okay? And there are a lot of telltale signs of that. You know, people like Gachagua have made foreign trips. That usually is very suspicious. What was he going to do on this foreign trip? Who was he going to meet? What was he going to negotiate? Eh? Tell me. Okay? So trust me. Opposition politics in Kenya is suddenly very well financed. Let me give you one example to prove my point. It came out in the news that presidential candidate, former CS during the presidency of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, a man called Fred Matiang'i, had appointed a very huge major political PR company to help him in his campaign for the presidency. Now, please don't be naive. In the same vein, we have also heard that this candidate, Fred Matiang'i, has got a war chest of finances for his presidential campaign. I know there's some people who believe Uhuru Kenyatta removed money from the Kenyatta fortunes to finance Fred Matiang'i. Weka hapo tu. There is nothing like that. Okay? Point number 6. The Minnesota Manenos. Now, please don't fool yourself that the American government never knew what was happening with these Somali fraudsters in the United States, that they discovered this just the other day. In fact, the case against the fraudsters did not start last year. It started a long time ago. Investigations to gather evidence started a long time ago. But then suddenly, Trump comes out and decides that they are going to recover the assets purchased from the money that was gotten from the fraud against the American people. And those assets are in which country? Kenya. Now, please let us step back for a minute and think about this without any emotions, and we think about it logically. Now, people who are smart enough to pull off something like that, do you think they would put all their eggs in one basket? Of course not. And so, this money from this fraud must have gone to other places in the world, other countries, which Trump is not talking about. Okay? And the Americans have not sent any FBI agents to those countries. Shikanisha, please, join the dots. And so let's try and make some sense out of this one. If things are so bad for the Ruto presidency, why hasn't he just given up? Why has he gone to great lengths to show us that things are not so bad, that he still has support from the international community? Why? Okay, You know, I was looking back at the career of William Ruto through the eyes of my blog, kumekucha.blogspot.com, and I came across a few posts where I had declared very confidently the political career of William Ruto, kwisha maneno. And I was proved wrong. Ruto is a fighter. He has been in many situations where he's completely cornered, and he fights his way out. And therefore, it is easy to see that even this one, he sees he can fight his way out. Things can change. If he keeps on working hard at it consistently, at some point, the tide will change. Okay? So, there you have it. In my opinion, some people have already been declared pariah. Now, as I bring our very latest offer to an end, you have one final window of opportunity to get this amazing ebook on exactly how the late Cyrus Njirongo was assassinated, complete with a video taken on the scene of the crash, moments after it happened. And the new offer is, wait for this one, only Kenya shillings 14.99. You can see details on your screens right now. Please rush. In the next 48 hours or so, this offer will be kaput, gone. So please take full advantage. The sensitive information in this ebook and the video is well worth it, and should help anybody understand exactly what went down here. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.